Another book I read recently, The Hustler by Walter Tevis. This is also known for the Paul Newman movie adaptation from, I believe, the 50s or 60s. Haven't seen it, but I've just finished this book recently. I really like this book. This book has this. It's a story of a young, down on his luck, borderline homeless, bad boy pool shark named Eddie Felson, and who knows he's the best, and he's got to fight and defeat Minnesota Fats, the most famous pool player in the underground pool hustling world. And basically the way Tevis, it's like a Rocky story, but it's just makes somehow he can make pool so intense and immersive. Now the best part of this novel is easily the writing, from the dialogue to the descriptions. Walter Tevis was such a good writer. It's very visual in your mind. It puts you there. It's like you can feel the sweat dripping off your face. You get immersed in these matches that have just really good adrenaline, and there's something to prove. Meanwhile, Eddie is falling in love with this slowly, but sort of more so a cohabitating, kind of a cheap, dirty, like sort of relationship with this alcoholic student at a university, and so that makes things interesting. And there's a little bit of crime in here, so this is like a partially just a slice of life sort of quality, survival-ish type of sports drama story that is really kind of its own thing, and also just captures a certain time and place of that time period. And altogether, it was fun, and it was really good. It had some good dialogue, and it kept me intrigued, wanting to know what happens next. But I will say it wasn't a perfect novel, because the biggest flaw, it had a few small flaws, but the others aren't worth mentioning. But the biggest flaw of all for me was I just felt as though Eddie could have wanted, there should have been more tension, and there should have been more of something to prove, because from the get-go Eddie is kind of already knows he's the best. And so the suspense of the story to the climax, it could have been a stronger, steady narrative thrust towards the ultimate climax to make an ultimately more satisfying, cathartic conclusion. And also the romance in the novel is kind of like a big flat wet fart in the wind, where it's just kind of just like, really, that's the best you can offer? Some people just screwing casually. I mean, I guess it's kind of like, I don't know, if you like smooth jazz, you might like this type of book. If you don't like to take life too seriously and live for where the stakes are high, I prefer stories where the romance and the sense of needing to prove oneself and identity by fighting the enemy or the antagonists, is a little bit more dramatic. And so in some ways you could say, well, that's what makes it cool. It makes it all 50s, 60s, or like it's all like laid back, and so the style is a 10 out of 10, but the story is like a 7 out of 10. So ultimately I see missed opportunities. It's not exactly what I wanted it to be. I just wanted things to matter more, and I wanted the main character to be more likable. I wanted the romance to be stronger, and it was altogether just a little bit too chill. So the amount of meaning from everything could have been a better story altogether. Now, why this stands the test of time and was still worth reading is because it's so damn immersive with all the good writing and description and dialogue. It has more grit to it in some ways, but it manages to be cool in other ways. And it's a good enough story to get you into it, because it's so immersive, and it's cool. It's a cool story. So anyway, that's The Hustler by Walter Tevis. I want to read more books by him, see movie adaptations of his work. He wrote a few really good books that I'm not really aware of, including sci-fi. So anyways, that's what I thought about this story. I give it an 8.5 out of 10. It's pretty sick, pretty slick story, and Eddie Felson is a pretty cool cat who I aspire to be like. Hell yeah.